Coming up on First at 4, officials in one county are working to improve emergency communications, how a new deal will help accomplish that goal. And it's the National Day of Prayer. Eastern Kentuckians from Pikeville to London are participating, why they say it's important.
Plus, we are tracking wet weather tomorrow and for the weekend. Your forecast on the way as Mountain News First at 4 starts now.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, officials in Perry County are working to find ways to improve communication for first responders. WYMT's RJ Johnson has more from Hazard.
Officials in Perry County have signed a mutual aid agreement among several agencies in cases of emergency. The agreement will allow firefighters, police officers, EMS officials, and other emergency services personnel to get updated radios. The new radios will give officials the ability to talk to each other using the same channel. The grant will allow the fiscal court to purchase the radios. Judge Executive Scott Alexander says after the July 2022 flood, officials looked at ways they could be better prepared if disaster strikes again.
Just looking back over the disaster, we've really reviewed to see how we might could do better in the event of another disaster, which we're likely to have. You know, as Kentucky is starting to have more and more disasters, we're trying to do better and better at prepping for them.
Alexander says this allows for better communications through all parties while keeping their community safe. In Hazard, RJ Johnson, WYMT Mountain News.
Alexander says it's important that officials are on the same page when assessing emergency situations.
Well, as promised, we are tracking a toasty Thursday across our region. Most of us right now in the middle to upper 80s. The record high for Jackson, 87, set back in 2012. And we may have a new record up to 88 in Jackson right now. Also in Somerset, up to 87 for Manchester, also Irvin, and 85 in London and Pikeville at this hour. So we are warm and toasty, also under some sunshine. A live look from the WYMT studios, and we stay dry as we go into this afternoon. Also this evening, all thanks to high pressure up on the radar, tracking a clean sweep, and that will also continue for this evening and for most of us through tonight. A small chance of a stray shower close to Lake Cumberland by late Thursday, but higher rain chances are looming. Notice as we zoom out, tracking a weather system producing some showers and storms today over Missouri, pushing into Arkansas and Mississippi, and this weather system is pushing into our direction. This evening, though, be sure to enjoy the dry weather because big changes are on the way as we are tracking some much more soggy conditions by Friday and for the Derby weekend. All those details coming up in just a little bit. Steve?
Cameron, thank you. Today is the National Day of Prayer, and a host of events are being held throughout the region to be part of the movement. WYMT's Buddy Forbes is in Pikeville, where an annual event led by local churches has been inviting people to pray for nearly 30 years.
Prayers were pouring from Pikeville today as the city's annual National Day of Prayer event kicked off in the city park. Dozens of people came to the Pikeville Park for a God-centered gathering, praying for the needs of their communities, the growth of their churches, and the safety of the region. Organizer Debbie Bailey says the event, which has been hosted in the city since 1997, is all about the power of prayer and how believers of all types can come together.
The theme for the National Day of Prayer this year is Lift Up the Word, Light Up the World.
Those involved say it is a great day to join together in prayer and fellowship, being a small group but part of a collective web. In Pikeville, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
We'll have more from the Pikeville event coming up at 6, but Bailey says it's just one of many events happening in the mountains today, which she considers a blessing. And one of those other events was hosted in London. Events in Laurel County began at 7 this morning with a prayer breakfast. At 11 a.m., several community leaders participated in an event at New Life Worship Center. To round out the day's events, folks gathered this afternoon in front of City Hall to join in prayer. Several local pastors spoke about the importance of these gatherings.
It means a whole lot to me, and I think it means a lot to this community to be able to have so many different leaders from different churches, denominations, and streams like I said, the Bible says that when we come together in unity, God commands the blessing there. The Bible also says that they will know that you are my disciples by how you love one another. So the fact that so many churches were able to come together is a testimony of who Jesus is for all of us.
Officials say they hope the event will continue to grow and bring the community closer together. Officials in Hazard are also planning to gather for prayer tonight. The event is scheduled at the Hazard City Hall Amphitheater at 6 p.m. They will have a prayer for government leaders and the nation, along with special music. Leading the prayers will be Perry County Sheriff Joe Engel, who is also a pastor, and several others. Food will also be provided. Coming up on First at 4, pro-Palestinian protests continue at college campuses across America. How law enforcement agencies and officials are responding.
Plus, after toasty weather today, we are tracking some more moisture to end the week. Those details coming up.